Okay, you all. I'm sorry about that. It is, this is how technology works. And so we had some technical difficulties. We're going to jump right into this interview. And I know it must be powerful because of these technical difficulties. Okay. So we're going to get started. So, Mr. Green, give us
And
some background on who AC Green is.
well, AC Green is the son of Earlene and Willie O. Green. My father was a minister, a pastor, and worked for the United States Department of Labor. My mother was a great woman who is, um, I guess, when you hear me on the radio, you hear a lot of my mother's energy and her sensitivity, and my father's wisdom and their their sturdiness. So that's what you're getting. You're getting my mom and dad when you hear me on the radio.
All right, all right. Well, I heard you yesterday on Resurrection Sunday, and you
Mhm.
talked about your background on how you got into radio, that is not what you started out doing, right? I
Right.
just wanted you to share that testimony again because it was so powerful for the audience who, can hear it again.
Well, I started with the radio show with a 30-minute radio show on a Christian station in 2008. It was the real estate market that collapsed. You all, if you were living during that time, you remember that money was scarce. People were having trouble with their businesses. Major businesses were having trouble because they couldn't get funding. They couldn't get money. So when the money markets close up, that means that everybody down the line, they have no money either, because the people that would give them money because of their businesses, they didn't have any money because they couldn't get loans. They could not get funding for anything. It was bad. And it was during that time that the radio station, Daryl King, she approached me because I knew her and I knew many of the other radio professionals, because before that, I was writing jingles and commercials. President Barack Obama, the Yes We Can jingle, I wrote that jingle for him in 2004. And leading up to 2008, I was doing commercials and jingles for everybody. So that's how I made my living. So the radio station people knew me because I would always be bringing commercials to the station for my clients. And Daryl King called me one day and she asked me if I knew anybody that would want a brokered show. That means you pay for the show. So when you listen to Steve Harvey, you listen to Tom Joyner and those other national, Ricky Smiley, those are brokered syndicated shows. So they had availability. It was a cost to it of $81, and during that time, $81 was a whole lot of money. It really was, to have it every single week, and I couldn't even pay my mortgage during that time because the business had dried up. So, I hung the phone up with Daryl and told her I would see what I can find, and called her back, right back, and I asked her how much it was. She told me $81. I said, "What if I do it?" And she said, "You?" And because I would bring commercials to the radio station. I wasn't the one on the radio. I got a lot of people on the radio. I understood the radio. I did jingles, so I understand production, of course. Um, so I started doing it, and um, I I didn't know that I was good at it, and people would call me and tell me, you're good at that, But it's amazing what God prepares you for, because I was always preparing other people to be on the radio.
Mm,
I was getting them ready to be on the radio. I was making sure that Daly and Obama and those people sounded good on the radio. So
mm,
I had the knowledge, I had the information. It's just that I had never actually done it myself. So one thing led to another. I did that 30-minute show. Then it was offered to me another show on the FM station, and I took that. And then one thing after another. Within 6 months of me doing that show, I was on air in Las Vegas, Indianapolis, Atlanta, and now every urban radio station in the third largest market in America, in Chicago. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to simply encourage everybody else that it does not matter what everybody else thinks. That's the biggest mistake you could ever make. So we
mm.
all have a different fingerprint. We all have a different blueprint for our lives. Nobody has the same one. So if you're gauging yourself and if you're measuring yourself all the time by somebody else's standard, then you're probably going to miss your own. No, you need to make sure that above all that you're listening to the spirit that was given to you, so that you can move out on that thing, because it sure is night follows day. Your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men and women.
Come on. And then give your scripture. I love your scripture at the beginning. And I like the you like the King Jimmy version. I like the message version, which is more ebonically, I can understand it.
So no, that's Ephesians 3:20.
Yeah.
Well, when I first started the radio show, when I hung the phone up from Daryl King after she asked me about getting somebody to be on the radio, and I said that what if I did it? When I hung up and I called her back and said I'm going to do it, um, the scripture that came to me was Ephesians 3:20, because that is the scripture that had been encouraging me all along the time when I was losing my house, losing everything. Everybody was losing things. I mean, everybody during that time, people lost their buildings, their property. They a lot of loss, and it was during that time that I came to radio, and it was during that time on radio that, as I was helping other people stay encouraged, the show was nothing but an empowerment show. That's
Mhm.
it. But while I was on air, I was coming up with the different solutions for myself with regards to my mortgage. And as I was coming up with those solutions, my audience was listening to me come up with those solutions. So it was reality radio in 2008, long before reality,
Mm.
on radio and in media, social media, and all that. And so as I overcame my situation, they heard what I was doing. They overcame that. Group that helped me overcome the situation with my mortgage ended up being the sponsor with me 15 going on 16 years later. The show $81 what it cost us to do it at that time with a 30-minute show. Now it costs us roughly 500 plus $1,000 a month.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. So talk about your purpose and how you knew what your purpose was, because we have a lot of people who don't know purpose, right? Don't know what their specific purpose is.
Well, I think that what confuses a lot of people is that they hear other people talk like this about purpose, and then they try to measure themselves against it. The reality is quite simple. Nobody truly understands the purpose in its totality in the moment. What you do understand that this is right for me now. And then
Yeah.
the purpose unfolds. It's like you're trying to say that a baby, a newborn baby that you love to cuddle, that you understand what they're going to be like at 40. You cannot say that. You don't know that. But what you do know is that you are going to nurture this loving child as long as you can and enjoy this child right then. So same thing with your feelings every day. You already know that if you're doing something that is not in line with your spirit, you know that feeling already. You can lie to yourself if you want, but you already know. You know maybe that you're working a job that you have to work because it gives you the money you need, but you already know if it's aligned with your spirit. You already know that if it feels right. Let's say it like that. If it feels right for your life, right? So what you should do is you think about what would I do, what gift do I have? What would I want to do? I don't care how crazy it sounds to other people. Say it to yourself. What would I do if I could do something and it would take care of me for the rest of my life, but I would really do it for no money at all? What would that be? And that's likely to be your purpose. So you can start out maybe it's I want to help people. Okay, well that may be one of the things you want to do now. In what area? What gifting do you have? What natural gifting is a natural thing, by the way. So it's not, you don't have to go search for a gift. It's already there. You have it. It's in you. God gave it to you. All of us have one. Just like all of us have a spirit that God gave us. So you same with me. So it felt good for me. I could be on the radio. I could communicate. First of all, I love people, and you cannot give yourself to people and seek to find your purpose if you don't really love people, because there is nothing that you're going to do in the earth that's going to be a part of your purpose that's not going to involve people, because that's why we're really here. We're not here as an individual onto ourselves. We're here so that we can be of help and of benefit to other people. That's the connection that we all have to have.
Yes.
So everybody can find that because everybody has that. But I cannot tell you how to look for it because it's already within you. There is no prescription for this. There is no blueprint I can give you for that, right? But if it feels right to you, go with that.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you now. I couldn't hear you before.
Can you all hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You're not moving on the screen, but I can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, let's go to the next question then. So, what bothers you most in the Black community and why?
We say what bothers me. What do you mean? What bothers me?
What do you see like issues, things that bother you most within our community?
Mm, that I don't think that we understand the value of us being together and wanting to be agreeable about things that matter to all of us. I think that we have been seduced into believing that we can be great individuals, and so that we don't need the collective, and that's the mistake. That's your power in any community. Your power is your togetherness, but we have been seduced because sometimes lack, and if you lack over time, if, for instance, if you go for a long periods of time without eating a good meal, when you get in front of that good meal, you're gonna sop it all up and want some more because you're gonna feel deprived. And I think we over time have felt deprived in a lot of ways in our individual wants and some needs. So therefore we go after the things that make us individually feel good, like being able to get that particular article of clothing, to be able to get that particular vehicle to drive, to get that particular place to live, and we make that, the sum total of our pursuits. When our pursuits really should be building relationships with each other, because that is the most valuable of all things. And we have stopped doing those things as much as we look for the individual achievement. And social media adds to that too, because it gives you the ability to become in many cases who you absolutely are not. So you know, um, it's not anything
Mm,
positive. Michael Jordan thinking that he could win championships by himself, and Phil Jackson had to come in and tell him, "Hey, bro, you can be good, but you're not gonna win championships by yourself." So he showed him, he taught him how to work with others, and Scottie Pippen and others to be great. Allen Iverson, on the other hand, never won a championship because he was one of the best ball players ever to play ball, but he never won championships because he saw the individual pursuit bigger than the team pursuit.
okay. Okay, your time. I have two more questions really fast. What words of wisdom would you have or could you provide for the audience?
Just be yourself. Be the best version of yourself. So you already know every day you wake up. You already know the things you can work on to be better at. Work on those things. Be better at those things. Don't be too hard on yourself, but always be your own competition. Right? No, you don't have to compete against anybody else. It's enough things that you need to work on. You can be your own competition. I would say above
Can you
everything,
hear
do
me?
that. I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay, now we can hear you.
You can hear me now.
Did you hear the question I asked?
I
Yes.
did. I answered it. I actually answered it. Can you hear me?
Did you hear the question that I asked?
Yes. Yes. I answered it. I answered the question. You can hear me?
Oh, I didn't hear you. Oh, words of wisdom. I didn't hear it. I'm sorry.
Okay. So what I'm saying,
Um,
what I would do is I would be the best version of myself that I could be. For you, be the best version of yourself. So don't try to compete against everybody else. Compete against yourself. There are enough things you wake up in the morning knowing that you can get better at. That if you compete against yourself, that is enough for your day. You don't have to compete against anybody else.
gotcha. And the final question. So I have a show, Love Connection show coming up soon. Um, are there any future aspirations to add a Mrs.
Hey,
Green.
if she if I see her, then that's it. I'm gonna go with my spirit. So, yep, he that findeth the wife findeth a good thing. So if I see her, if I find her, I'm gonna get her. Are you there? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?